let me tell you a thing. There is more than just binary. Now, what does that mean exactly? That means it's more than just male and female. There is male, female, female to male, male to female, gender fluid, gender neutral, demi-boy, demi-girl, demi-gendered, gender neutral, agendered, trans-masculine, trans-feminine. There are so many genders in this world than just male and female. And the blanket term for that is called non-binary. Because there's just so many genders. Some people have their own genders that they create themselves because that's what fits them. It's called gender identity. And there's so many gender identities out there in the world. The more you're educated on it, the better off your children will be. Because your children aren't necessarily going to be happy stuck in a single gender role. Some of them might. Like, there are people who are perfectly happy with being female or male. That doesn't necessarily that's their sex. Gender is a psychological process. It's your psychological identity. Sex is what your physical identity is. Some people are happy being what they were born. Like, people who were physically born female are happy being female, and those who are physically born male are happy being male. But there are people who are born physically female that want to be male, and those who are physically male that want to be female. And then there are those who are a combination of male, female, and non-gendered. It's more than just black and white. It's a whole spectrum of colors. You can't just pick that and that. It's not cut and dry. It's not like that. There are so many things in this world that we don't even understand. One of the biggest issues that today's children have is that they don't understand the concept of gender identity. They don't understand it. That's why it is crucial to tell teenagers at a very early age, 13, 14 years old, to start informing them about different genders. This means the non-binary. Because that's when they start thinking abstractly. That's when they can grasp these concepts. Excuse me there. They can grasp these concepts and understand it. And the more they learn about it, the more you'll find that more people identify with non-binary terms in non-binary genders than they do with the binary. Because your mind isn't just female. Your mind isn't just male. It's male, female, non-gendered, or all gendered. It's everything. That's why gender is That's why gender is a psychological thing. And sex is a physical thing. My sex may be female. But my gender, my psychological identity, that's male. And there are tons of people out there that feel the same. There are also multiple romantic orientations and sexual orientations, but I'm not going to get into those today. My main thing is non-binary genders, because romantic orientation and sexual orientation is non-binary, because that's not cut and dry either. But if we can take today's children and start feeding them the knowledge that should be going around, and start a non-binary movement at even just young ages too. Shoot, just start telling them just like little tidbit knowledges here and there at a young age, and then once they're old enough to grasp the concept of non-binary and gender identity, that's when you can lay it onto them heavy and thick, because the teenage years are the most important years. That's when people start forming their own identities. And how can they completely form their identities when they don't know half the things out there? Today's teenagers only grasp heterosexual, bisexual, and homosexual. Most of them don't even know about pansexual or asexuality. They don't grasp that concept. I keep messing up that word. They don't grasp the concept. because they aren't taught the concept. So they don't have a full range to explore and find themselves and find their identities. So teaching kids about the non-binary is crucial to their identity stage. It helps them find who they are. When you just give them male, female, gay, not gay, kind of sort of gay, it doesn't help them. There are multiple things out there. It is completely normal for a teenage boy, psychologically or physically, or both, to be asexual. Whereas most of society says, oh, boys like to have sex all the time. They think about sex all the time. They really want sex. Not necessarily. There are some boys that just don't want sex, and that's called asexuality. And then it is proclaimed that girls think about romantic attractions all the time. They have to be romantically attracted because they're a girl, physically, mentally, whatever. The whole staple of girls liking and being romantically attracted to people. There are girls who never feel romantic attraction at all. That's called aromanticism. And there are some people who don't want to be romantically attracted. That's called anti-romanticism. And then there's people who never want to be sexually attracted to people. That's called anti-sexualism. It's more than what we think it is. And then there's also gray romantics, gray sexuals, bi-romantic, bisexual. When we talk about homosexuality, heterosexuality, and bisexuality in layman's terms, it usually refers to both romantic and sexual attraction. That's not always the case. You can be sexually attracted to females but be romantically attracted to boys. It can differ depending on the person. That's why, and I'm really not trying to explain romantic orientations or sexual orientations. I'm just saying that there's more to it than what we put out there. And that's why we need to focus on giving correct information to today's teen populace, because this is their time to form their identities. And if they don't have all the information, they won't form and grow and mature properly because they don't have all the information. They don't have all the pieces they need to start forming their identities. If I had known all about these identities back when I was growing up, you could bet your ass I would have come out as female to male a lot sooner. But I didn't have all the information. And that is why I'm putting this out there for everyone, that the non-binary exists. And if the more you realize this, and the more you can educate your teen children or your teen friends, whatever, the better off they're going to be, because they can start correctly and accurately forming their identities.